Okay, recording this video. It's actually Monday, 4th of July 2011 here in Sydney. So happy 4th of July to all the American watchers and listeners out there. And for all the Canadians, happy Canada Day for the 1st of July. My wife is actually a Canadian, I'm part American, so we kind of vaguely celebrate both days and have been enjoying a little bit of a rest over the weekend. Apologies for not putting out any videos last week. I think the last one I put out was on Monday. I've been, I don't know, procrastinating certainly over putting out videos, certainly a little bit maybe disappointed and surprised with the activity. I was thinking we might get a sell-off after last weekend's activity, and let me just recap you. We were sitting at support at kind of 1260 on a whole bunch of different charts. The risk on and the risk off charts were sitting at support and resistance, and I was postulating that maybe we actually might get a break of those support levels and kind of move into a strong downtrend move. And of course we didn't see that at all after Monday's activity, or coming into Monday's open. That support level hold, we rallied on Monday and just kept on going throughout the rest of the week. So we've now actually kind of tested back up and broken through the downsloping resistance trend line up here on the high side here, and the week's activity has been really quite spectacular. We've had 1250, 1260s kind of held. We've had extreme buying setting off this move, and then 5 days in a row of strong activity, finishing off with Friday's kind of extreme buying on the high side, closing at 1335. Apologies, just had to break the video there. TradeStation decided to refresh all of my charts, which just took a minute or so to work through. So let me just show you what I'm seeing, because now that we've had this kind of strong move on the upside, and let me just show you on the weekly chart. This ended up being one of these red, white and blue patterns where we've had a sell-off with these kind of exhaustion selling bars, white bars coming into support. At support we get high volume churn bars here, two of these weekly high volume churn bars, which means relatively high volume with relatively low range. We end up with high churn at this point, and then we take off to the upside with a exhaustion buying bar, red bar kind of going the other way. Question is, is this going to continue? Are you going to break 1350, 1360 and kind of keep on going? As traders, we shouldn't really care which way the market breaks. We should just be hoping for good volatility and trading the setups as they kind of appear. I must admit though, Thursday, Friday's activity did have a smell to it. Thursday obviously kind of painting the tape for end of June, end of the quarter. All the fund managers wanted all their numbers to look as good as possible, so kind of that's called painting the tape, kind of keeping the numbers elevated. And then Friday's activity, when we hit the kind of the ISM release, it just felt really kind of gamed higher. Maybe there's a lot of people like me who've got a very bearish view and all of their stops got hit, and we just kind of triggered, cascaded up through those stops, and it just kind of kept on going. But for me, it just doesn't feel real. It's not a move that seems all that solid. I think we're just kind of testing the highs. Overall, what we are sitting in is within these kind of cyclical support and resistance levels, and we had, last weekend we had the cyclical resistance level kind of come in on all of the charts, on all the risk on charts, and it was potentially the break of those that I was worried about on last weekend. Now, this weekend, looking out over the next couple of days, we've got all the resistance levels on those daily charts kind of coming in. So let me just show you those. So here's crude. This is last weekend. This is kind of the Friday's activity, Friday, Monday's activity, where I was thinking that this cyclical support area might not hold, and so once that fails, we kind of break into a downtrend. And we got close, but we kind of went the other way. Now we're 2 or 3 days away from a cyclical turn and resistance level kind of printing on and crude. We're a little bit closer on some of the other charts. So for example, let me show you this one. This is silver. Silver's actually broken into a downtrend here. Silver, we kind of broke into a downtrend, tested back up with 2 amateur up bars. Support becomes resistance and actually kind of moved the other way. We're moving in this way because I think there's actually strength in the dollar index, and so silver kind of is going to tend to move counter to that and are more in tune with gold. And if we look at gold, same thing, kind of broken into a downtrend, tested back up, and we're kind of down. We're finding a little bit of buying on coming into Monday's activity, but again, we're technically in a downtrend here. below support. But then here, so Aussie dollar, last weekend we found support. Now we're a day or two away from finding cyclical resistance at this point. Euro, same thing. We had a cross here, so over the next day or two finding cyclical resistance here. And these are just the counter to these moves. Last weekend was support, this weekend it's resistance. And the question is, do we actually break through these things and keep going into an uptrend, or do we actually kind of go testing the downside again? So, and then here's lastly copper. Last weekend we found support, this weekend we're coming into resistance at this point. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on my charts. We can see the corollary, the opposite of that happening on all the risk-off trades. So this is US bonds, so cyclical support kind of coming in here. We kind of broken resistance becomes support and kind of broken there. But am at a down bar on Friday's activity. Pretty extreme in terms of sell-off, in terms of better momentum here. So maybe finding support over the next day or two. Here's dollar index again coming out to that cyclical support area, and although better momentum showing quite a lot of selling at this point, the damage in terms of price has not been extreme yet. 5-year note again, a couple of days from support. Blue professional bar kind of come in here, no supply, profit taking and so on, stopping that decline. And then here's the 10-year again, really quite extreme selling at this point here on the 10-year, and a couple of days away from support there. So it's funny, all of these things are happening together over the next 2 or 3 days, really. All of these support and resistance levels are going to play out on each of these markets, and it's a question, well, do we bounce back into congestion, or do we break out into, on the equities side, into a strong kind of bull trend, or do we move back into congestion and kind of go test the lows again? And you can see on the daily chart of the E-mini, again, this is the cyclical resistance level that's going to play out over the next couple of days. Again, extremely strong move up here. I mean, I was thinking that we'd form a pullback and a downtrend on beneath this 1310 level here, which we pull back and find our end of trend, which would then kind of come in and join the weekly support area, which I still think I just don't think this is it. I think we've got to find that over the next few weeks. So that's my personal kind of bias. The hypothesis chart, funnily enough, when we didn't break through the 1260, 1250 kind of level on the E-mini, we actually played out just as I thought several weeks ago we would on the hypothesis chart. We've kind of broken on Thursday, looked kind of really sweet, but we kind of broken above that more than I thought this pullback would go to on the hypothesis chart. But I still have this feeling that we're going to kind of make this move here. But we'll see. I think I just have to become more emotionally unattached from the direction of the market. The whole week has been just one incredibly strong uptrend, starting off with Sunday to Monday's activity, where we just kind of kept on going through these end of trend warning signals. The first one came at the end of Monday, pushed through that, kind of professional up bars, forcing us through these kind of resistance levels into another uptrend, kind of a dirty signal here Tuesday, Wednesday, then kept on pushing up through Thursday. Thursday we got another end of trend, and then the ISM numbers came out and bang, after this cyclical activity pushed us into another. So we've still got to find kind of pull back an end of trend on the 4500 tip bar chart, but at each of these points I was thinking, well, is that a reversal? We're going to keep going the other way. So that's what I'm looking at on my charts this weekend. I hope your trading went well this week. Thank you for the few emails I got asking where I was, hoping that I was okay. Yes, I'm fine, just a little bit psychologically scarred from the week, but none the worse for wear, and looking forward to next week's trade. I hope you are too. On short 1475, and just checking my stops and targets. The reason I've gone short here. Okay, blue professional bar just come in on the 1500 tip bar chart. Just looking for this support to break potentially, and into a downswing. Second cyclical turn after end of trend on the 4500 tip bar chart after they kind of painted the tape yesterday. Flush signal there, kind of bearish divergence. So it'd be nice to get a little bit. Don't think there's going to be a lot of activity the whole day, but in the morning we might get a little bit of a move, so maybe we're going to break this low. So anyway, so short 1475, caged out at 1425 just for a half point. And the reason for getting out there, just had bullish divergence coming on the 500 tip bar chart, two blue professional bars on the 15. So I think we're just going to get kind of rescued a little bit here, kind of test back up. So Just take a half point and see what happens. Long 1550, and reason for getting long, kind of jumping the creek here. Blue professional bars just above this cyclical resistance on the 500 tip bar chart. I think a little early in terms of this term on the 45, but might be holding on the 1500 tip bar chart. The reason I'm not kind of keen to get too short at the moment is not seen exhaustion buying on the upside to kind of spark a down move. Don't think that was enough kind of yesterday. We've got to see it during the day, I'd have thought today. Don't like that this kind of come down, but anyway, should be breaking back up hopefully. So the next short trade really should be set off with an exhaustion buying signal on something like the 500 or 15. So just long 1550. Just bought that breakout pretty much at the high. Just hanging around this 1316 level. We got consumer sentiment and ISM numbers coming out in the next minute and 5 minutes. So still going to hold this because I think it's going to pop. Not seeing any blue professional bars out here. We've got cyclical resistance on 15, but you know, I'm still looking for exhaustion buying to signal the end of this move up. So let's see. Go! Wow, just taken out at 1950 on the target. Unbelievable. Not sure what the ISM manufacturing numbers said, but we just went ballistic there for a second. So first trade was half point, reverse went long, second trade for 4, and held through a data release, which don't normally end up doing, but yeah, just didn't have that pop. Wow, okay, so what was that, 9:01 AM, so I'm just going to watch it for a while and see. But look at this, just keeping going. Anyway, that was good.